Show.
Hey yo, back again with a little bit of a different video today. Um wanted to talk about something. It's just a general impression and it just comes from like talking to different people or making these videos or being on live streams, and you kind of encounter different perspectives of how people participate in this hobby, comic book collecting. Um and it's I think these perspectives are do there are various factors that weigh in on these and contribute to why people uh collect the way they collect, or I'm not really sure how to say it, participate in the hobby, I guess that's how I would say it. And some people have really strong opinions on these things, and I want to talk about that. Even, this having a really strong opinion about one of these things. But just a general disclaimer. First off, you should be able to participate in any hobby however you want to. You know, as long as you're not like screwing people over or hurting people or whatever, you know, you you should be able to uh, buy whatever comics you like. You know, spend as little or as much as you want, or uh, when you get those comics, those belong to you. And yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, if you want to uh, slab every comic you own, or if you want to burn them in a fire, that's up to you. I mean, I'd hope you're not burning them in a fire. I mean, that would kind of suck. But at the end of the day, no one really should be able to tell you anything other than what you want to do. As long as you're not burning my comics, like you can do whatever the hell you want with yours. Uh, but yeah, and I think people who say differently are assholes. Like, if you're going to tell somebody that, oh no, you have to do this, or you shouldn't do that, or you must, like, uh, you're just a dick. Don't do that. Just, there's room in this hobby for everyone. Whatever you enjoy, whatever you like, I will like the fact that you like it, even if it's something that I don't really like. I mean, if you like it, I like the fact that you like it, and that's a cool thing. And I want to foster more of that, more people enjoying comic books. So yeah, but some of the things I that I want to talk about do address a certain amount of like silly gatekeeping with the hobby, or even just kind of just I don't know, a there's this purist mentality that I want to break down, and I'm going to attack it a little bit. So if you feel attacked, you're probably one of them. I would hope not. I would hope you just kind of take it as more of my perspective. I mean, I'm attacking the mindset, not anybody individually. This isn't addressed to an individual person. Some of this is addressed to mindsets. But I've noticed that there are different types of people, hobbyists, comic book hobbyists, I'll call them. But people who are have very, very specific uh, um, agenda. I don't know if that's the right word, but goals. Maybe goals. That's the right word. Uh, with how they're buying their comics, and when you hear people talk about this, I think you can break it into like three distinct categories, and I think most people fall into all three a little bit, at least, even if it's not a lot. But there are people who will describe themselves as comic readers. I read comic books, and um, I'll get into a little bit. And then I think there are other people who would call themselves a collector. They're a collector, that just as you are with any other hobby, a collector. And then I think there are people who uh, even if they won't admit it, they would classify themselves as an investor or a speculator. They're speculating on prices of comics, and there are varying opinions about each of these. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about each. So the comic book reader, like I've read comic books my entire life from the time I was 3 or 4 years old, and I would hope that people are reading comic books and they continue to read comic books. I would hope people continue to read books too. Like I think people should read, and I think it makes you a more articulate person. I think it trains your mind in a certain way. I think your grammar becomes better. Your yeah, your word usage, your just your general yeah, just how you speak and interact with the world changes. And I think that uh, comic books, in particular, are, I mean, there's such a wide range of what you can see in comic books that it does open your mind up to certain, um, works of fiction that I think are underrated. I think, it's something that's kind of looked down upon by the general reader. Like people say, "Oh, you like comic books?" And I'll be like, "No, yeah, I do, but have you read comic books? Like there's some there are some amazing comic books that I think whoever you are, if you were introduced to them, certain things that are you might like, whatever you individually like, you would like comic books. I believe that. Um, However, you don't get a badge for how many comic books you read. Okay, you don't you're not somehow elevated above the rest of us or something because of how many comic books you read. And it, there, another part, from my perspective, from my opinion on it, is when people say comic books are for reading, I say yes, sometimes. Not all comic books. I don't think all comic books are for reading. I believe uh, there are certain comics, if they're incredibly valuable, that these need to be protected, and you shouldn't be flipping through your Action Comics #1. I think there are plenty of versions of that out there that you can read, facsimile editions and online and things, where it's not going to destroy this precious historical artifact. At some point, some of these comics become artifacts. That is different. That's not just a regular type of a comic. Also, there are comics out there that just suck. I mean, the stories just suck, but they might have incredible artwork. So when people do cover buys, like where people are buying like because they like a specific cover artist or they like the cover subject matter, but they're not reading that comic. There's nothing wrong with that. So when someone wants to pick at those people who are doing cover buys. I do both. I mean, I buy comics. I have a stack right here that I need to get through reading. Uh, that I gradually working my way through. I did read Bug Wars #3. Dope if you're watching this, and I liked it a little less. I hope it gets better. Anyway, um, yeah. But I think that I would hope people read comics. Uh, I think most people, if you're into this hobby, I hope you're reading comics. I would say all but everyone except like the most hardcore investor, like where they don't give a shit about comics, they're just trying to make money. Everybody but them probably reads comics to some extent. Maybe they don't read as much as you do, and that's fine. You again, you don't get special batch of cookies made because of how many comics you read that week. Sorry, I'm sorry to be the one that ruins your cookie dreams for the week, but you don't get those cookies. Those cookies don't exist. You get the satisfaction of maybe you were able to read some good stuff, and maybe you wasted your time and read some shit. I don't know, but either way, uh, no purists. It's there. You don't uh, uh, get elevated because you only buy comics you read, where other people are buying comics that are not necessarily for reading. Second, collectors. I would say almost anybody in this hobby I would call a collector in some way. I think that whatever you're doing, The only way maybe you're not a collector is if you buy like, two comics a year and then you pass them along to somebody else, or you're just buying some trade paperbacks once in a while and those sit somewhere else, and I don't know that's necessarily collecting. I think that's just, someone who's just, reading once in a while and doesn't really care about, the thing. But I would say most of us have certain titles we're collecting. Some of us, I think I'd say most of us are kind of can get obsessive about it, like where it's like, no, 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 it has to be like this. I have to have that stored here in this way and in these conditions. And yeah, I'm looking for this, and this is what I want to get next. And I think most of us have that type of a mindset in my experience. Not everyone has that. I'm not saying that, but I would say most people, whatever you're doing with the hobby, you're probably a collector at heart. And that lumps us in with a lot of other collection hobbies. And uh, this is something where, like, I might not understand someone who collects stamps, but I understand the mindset of a collector. So, like, I don't know the difference between, like, I know there's the upside down airplane and probably presidents and foreign country stamps and stuff that are very, very valuable. I don't know why. I don't get it. It's not for me. But that's fine. It's not for me. It's for someone else. That's their thing, and they're allowed to, be fascinated by that, and they probably don't give a shit about the Mark Spears comic that I just ordered. They don't care. They at all. They don't know who that is, and that's fine too. That's good. Uh, but again, and how you collect is how you collect, and whatever your collection interest is fine. It's cool, and like if you know only collect like specific superheroes and those comics, and that's all you're really interested in, I think that's fine. I mean, I don't think anybody should say, oh, you should expand and you should do what you like. But also, like, if you are a person who is collecting only raw books, or you're a person who's like slabbing 50-70% of your collection, that's fine too. I mean, that nobody gets to tell you how you collect your comics. Like, um I think that's whatever you do, I think is fine. Again, I do believe there is one distinction here, and this is something that's personal. It's a personal opinion, and I think this is an opinion. I think most people who collect Golden Age comics think the way that I'm about to say, that for modern comics, or comics where there's millions and millions and millions of them out there, it probably doesn't matter how you store it, because you can go buy that comic again, honestly. But for a lot of these Golden Age comics where there's like 50, 30, 17, 3 known to exist, I think you need to treat that as being as precious as it is, and you need to protect it, and you need to preserve it, and you are the caretaker of that comic. A lot of Silver Age comics, I would say, are the same. You're the caretaker of something that's not only valuable, but precious and historical. And you should do your best to make sure that thing is taken care of. That is maybe the one distinction where I would, uh, I might push back on people on that one. And that's, again, it's still yours and you can do whatever you want with it, but it's something that I would try to convince people uh, to adopt that mindset when something is very, very scarce or rare. And yeah, in my opinion, rare is like if there's like less than 100 of that, or maybe even 50. But like if there's like that few out there that are known, then I think you need to preserve it. And I think it becomes your job to preserve it. Like these all up here, all these above here. Like, I don't know how many people own those before I did, but and I hope a lot of people own these after I'm done. Like, I want these to last. And some of these are 70, 80 years old. I want them to 70, 80 years old. I want from now, I want other people to still have these. So I think that's important. Yeah, and it's something that I would try to impress upon people if you're operating in those types of books. Again, if you just bought a modern book, you want to crumple it up, it's probably fine. You could go buy it, in a dollar bin next year, probably anyway. But I would hope you don't do that. I would hope you still take care of your comics. I'm just trying to say that there are some that are so rare and precious that they deserve to be handled in a way that other people can enjoy them, and that we still have some in the future. They're paper, they go away, expensive paper, and they go away. Um, then the investors, or speculators. I don't know which you'd like to call yourself when you're doing that. Um, I think that if your sole purpose is to invest and speculate and make money in comics, you're probably going to be disappointed. That's you're not going to be very good at it. Like, if you don't understand it and if you don't have a certain passion for it, I think a lot of the people who got in COVID were trying to make a quick buck. I think those people got really disappointed, and I think that it was kind of silly to expect quick bucks. Uh, I do think you can make money in comics, but I think it's a long term thing, and I think if you're going to go that route where you're speculating and investing, you should be focusing on key comics and scarcity. That's I think how you're going to, uh, as long as people continue to collect comics, which I think people always will. I mean, I don't think that it's just going to go away altogether, but I do think that there will come a time where, um, very rare, very scarce comics are identified for what they are, that they're, uh, distinct forms of art, and that they are traded like that, and they're treated like that in auctions in the future. But I do think it there's a possibility that it gets to a point where it's like, fine art world, where it's like these things are totally hopelessly outside of the realm of anybody being able to afford them. I think that's golden age, silver age keys, maybe some bronze, but I think that's what I think happens at some point. But um, again, I think if you're only investing and only doing that, I think you're missing out on a lot. I think you would have a lot more enjoyment if you're speculating and investing on things you like. I think, and I think you'd be more effective at it, because you'll know, like, this sucks and this is good, and people are like, yeah, you would kind of understand, I believe. Also, I there are people who say they don't invest in comics, and you're wrong. You do. Whether you like that or not, that doesn't really matter. Like, you, or whether you're doing it on purpose or not, that doesn't matter. You're investing time and money in these comics. Period. You are. You're putting in time and money. Sometimes some people are putting in a lot of time. Some people are putting in a lot of money. And some people are just putting in a little bit of both. But you're doing some. And people say, I'm not going to ever sell my comics. And that could be true. You might never sell a comic book in your life, but somebody will. Somebody's going to sell your comics. Maybe not you, but that collection is going to go to somebody. And is it going to be something where it's one of these times where we all see these videos of somebody, hey, my uncle just died, and I got all these comics. You want to come and get them? Here's 100. Well, take them for $100, and they don't know anything about what it was. And that collection will probably outlast you. I mean, unless you sell it first. So you should care. You should take care of the comics. You should keep them in the right condition. You should understand that these are a resource of some value, and that it's going to help anybody who's here after you. Maybe that's your kids or your nieces or nephews or estate sale, whatever it is. It's going to help them to sell it when you're gone. It sucks to say that. I know. It sucks to think of the fact that your comic collection is going to outlive you. And then again, we don't get to take it with us. So, yeah, I think you should treat your comics as if as if they are valuable, and you should understand they are, and in some sense, and to, like, completely brush it aside and say, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Somebody's going to care. Somebody's going to care, man, or woman, whoever the hell's watching this. So, anyway, but I do think, like, people cross over into all of these. Like, I think there are some people who are more of one or the other. Most people are probably, like, varying degrees on this kind of scale, a scale of these types. Um, but it is interesting, and again, I think there's room for everyone, and I think it's something that I just wanted to call these things out, because I don't know that people do. I think people just kind of assume everybody sees this the same way, and it's not true. People don't see this the same way. People have very, very different perspectives and experiences with this hobby, and I think that it's kind of important to try to understand uh, other perspectives, and to know that it's completely fine. So anyway, that's my rant. I hope I didn't offend too much, and I hope that was more uh, starting a conversation rather than being provocational. That wasn't my intention. It was really to just try to call it out that hey, there's room for everybody in this, and that you don't get to gatekeep, and you don't get to dictate, and we should celebrate people doing this, because there are fewer of us out there. So we should celebrate that people are into this, and support them, whatever they like. Anyway, did get a comic today. Actually, I got a couple. This is one I've been waiting on. I talked about it. Check this out. Elvira meets Vincent Price. Suspiria again. And this weekend, yeah, I'm supposed to meet Elvira. I'm going to have this signed. This is 1 of 500. I got 2 of them. Not bragging. Just stating a fact. I got 2 of them. I'm going to try to get them signed by Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark. She's appearing just as Cassandra Peterson, so she's not appearing in costume, but she's 73 years old, so give her a break, guys. I mean, she doesn't have to do that shit anymore. She's done it enough. She's fine. She's signing as Elvira, but she doesn't need to put on the thing, the whole, exactly what I mean. So anyway, that's the video for today. Tomorrow, I got something big coming. I got a big one coming. There's going to be a big spicy sausage tomorrow. A big spicy sausage I'm going to unbox tomorrow. And I had a CGC unboxing tomorrow too. Holy shit, you guys are going to get spoiled with Chonko shit, man. Tomorrow's like Chonko spicy sausages tomorrow. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see tomorrow. But anyway, hope you're doing well. I hope all the people in your life are doing well. Hey, peak of the week. We're almost there. I told you you're going to make it. Every Monday, I tell you, you're a grown up and you're going to make it through this week, and you're going to do it. You're going to make it. Weekend's coming. That's it for now. Yeah. Cheers, buddies. Bye.